Alright, this is some shit that you could find helpful about people, relationships, men, women, category, are we dating, are we not, and what's the differences between the types of people that we're seeing. Now, there are less valuable women. There are more men that know that there is less valuable women compared to before, so the competition is higher. Luckily, the good thing is that guys, they have more resources. We can go to gyms now, way more than we could before 20 years ago. And we have more access on being better. We have access to YouTube. We have access to so many learning tools that we can learn how to cook. We can learn how to clean. We can learn how to be a better dad. We can learn how to improve our career. We can improve our skills. Both men and women, but more so men have more access to be, improve themselves. But the issue is that there are less valuable women. And I think the main reason why is because the social media that is available today is encouraging shit behavior. So attention is prioritized. Fake, non-authentic lifestyles, non-authentic ways of being. That's probably why on YouTube, things that are real are exploding much more and people are watching way more authentic things because they're sick of the fake shit. I think the fake shit era was peaked maybe 2018, but now we're shifting towards truth and just being real with our struggles, because I think a lot of people, a lot of us, I'm talking specifically my age, we are struggling compared to any other generation before. And now we're adults. Now we got into a point where we have a lot of struggles and we're channeling it through pretty much the internet. I learned this from my dad a bit, from spending time with my dad and seeing how he was in relationships. And I learned how to analyze it and process it for myself and my own life. And hopefully the information that I'm giving is going to be useful for you as well. My dad, I think, had codependency. Codependency, you can search it up. You can look up what it is for the ones that don't know. He just wanted to share everything with my mum, not necessarily in a romantic way, but because he wanted to do it with anyone. It could be a cousin, it could be anyone. He just can't stand being by himself. So this is a core issue because there is a lot of people on the dating market, especially now, that are not only looking to find find somebody that is going to make their hunger go away and their loneliness go away, but also, and for their self benefits, but also that are inauthentic with themselves, and so as a result they're inauthentic with other people. So what they tend to do is, because they don't take accountability, they don't take care of themselves, they don't have a good sense of self, they don't have a good sense of principles, morals, likes and dislikes. So they try to pretty much learn it from the other person. That's how my dad was, and that's how I know there's a lot of people also. There's like a portion, maybe 10%, I don't know, of everyone that is dating is this way. So we need to be aware of this, because we just assume that the people that have mental illness is very, very broad. So we need to make it more specific and be aware of the specific things and how they impact our life on a regular basis. So one of them is dating. When dating, there's a lot of women that are looking for not even just a sugar daddy or something, but they are looking for supply. They're looking for, men also do this, but I've seen, in my perspective, it seems like there's more women that are looking for supply, that are looking for someone to make them valuable rather than making themselves valuable. And their perspective of value is skewed, many women I've seen, because they see value, these specific women that I'm talking about, they see value as in empowering themselves, and similar to like how this feminist movement was, empowering themselves, being a girl boss, trying to be something that they're not, trying to be extravagant, be a bit too egotistical, and it's made men repel them more men repel them more, not all. And there's a lot of men that are not ready for a relationship and are codependent, like my dad, that cling on to the woman. And if it's a narcissistic woman, then they will see that as a good thing. You know, they won't get bothered with it. But women that are not narcissistic, they would most likely, they'd be bothered by him being too clingy, you know. So there's both sides, and that's how they affect it. It feels awkward because I haven't made a dating video or like a men's video whatsoever. And I know that my knowledge is way behind, but I have some personal experiences that honestly, to me, it's been extremely valuable. So hopefully it is for you as well. And it's good to remind ourselves of what's changing now so that we continue on, you know, being in a way that is not facing these traps, you know, not... and learning the mistakes that has been made before. So a big red flag is women that date on and on and on without losing much energy. There are men like this as well, but I've seen more women for some reason. And they see it's like almost a marathon. They don't lose so much energy with each relationship that affects them, you know, that breaks. And they get less affected. The energy works in different ways. People who are narcissistic and the ones that are codependent, they're not the same, they're different, but in terms of energy, their energy is different compared to how somebody that is not narcissistic and not that way, how their energy is, you know. We gain energy from our hobbies, from things that we like to do, from, you know, things that we like to eat, like to look at, like to interact with, cooking, you know, having a shower, doing anything brings us energy. But these sorts of people, they get their energy from other people, both codependents and narcissists. So when you get your supply from other people rather than the things that you like to do because you have no sense of self, no sense of core, it's maybe tough for many people, because especially if you don't know this and you haven't lived through it and you don't understand it, you're going to be struggling a lot. You're going to be struggling to find your own feet, to trust certain people. You're going to be struggling, and you're going to be making a lot of mistakes. You know, mistakes of giving too much, not saying no enough, pretty much. You need to say no more, and to learn how to say no to these kinds of people, because they drain your soul. And they make you lose yourself. So that's what you need to protect. Protect your boundaries, enforce them, and stick by them. Stick by your principles. So I said some red flags. A green flag is definitely anybody that is not afraid to be there with themselves, not afraid to be alone, not afraid to spend time with the things that they'd like to do without anyone being there. because they get their energy from the things that they interact rather than and the things that they create, the things that they affect, mundane things rather than people. This is a major green flag in terms of it could be a business deal you're doing with someone, it could be a transaction even. You can trust them more because they don't have much incentive to take advantage of you rather than somebody that is dependent on people. So in this era, I'm seeing less and less accountability. People we got so many more shit people around us, and to learn how to know how to behave around them, and I think you should just be away from them, even not only just learning how to speak and not give them information, because information they use as like a weapon whenever it's convenient for them. But also just learning to be away and to manage yourself and to have, I don't want to be egotistical, but say to have confidence in yourself, to do it in your own abilities. You know what you can do, you know what you can't do, which is good. And it shouldn't come from the outside, what your mum might say about you, what your cousin might say about you, but you prove to yourself what you are and what you can do. I think this is very, very, very positive. And it will improve your life immensely. So do the steps for yourself and take steps without needing acknowledgement from them or to date, or typically dating, the category that I'm talking about. There is a lot of people now that get their sense of worth, sense of value from dating people, and the pool is so large that they pretty much have so many chances, even if they are exposed. Even if you're a shit person or maybe you're mentally ill, even after you get exposed, you still have so much opportunities. And why is this so important? Because this is more so with women, not with guys. Because guys, they don't have much opportunities. Women have way more opportunities than guys. This is like a fact by concrete. I mean, you can look on dating apps, you can look everywhere. Social media, DMs, all of it. And attention in general. Women just get more attention, even if they're shit people. And the men that do get so much attention, almost like a woman, almost like a celebrity, are the ones that are like, that would be like a 10 out of 10. That would be like model level. So, like those jailmates that are very, very good looking men that are like looking like models. Those got very viral and trending and whatnot. And women were making so much comments about them, about how they looked and whatnot. So women get way more attention. So even if they're bad, they can get away with it and they continue, even if they get exposed. But men, if they get exposed, much less likely to be able to continue. This is important to know and acknowledge, because then you know that there is more women that you could meet that are toxic than a woman was to meet men. So it's tough for guys because there's more shit women, around in the pool. The women that are, that's why you see those cat ladies and cat women that have like 3 cats and they live single, because they reached an age where no longer are they like a celebrity from doing nothing, pretty much. They've lost that superpower, and now they go back to reality and they're kind of isolated and they can't get attention anymore. But with guys, it doesn't really happen. It happens early ages, if you are a shit person or you're mentally ill, even if you're age 20, you get exposed and that's it, your chances are gone. But with women, it takes time. And once it does, they typically do hit a wall, maybe age 30, 35, 40, usually. And they can't get any attention, they can't get any opportunities. That's the main thing, they can't get opportunities compared to a guy can. So guys hit back to reality even if they don't take accountability. Even if a guy doesn't take accountability, they are forced to hit back reality much quicker than a woman does, than an average woman. Recording. So some people use what they have and some people don't. And the ones that are good are the ones that are not using and exploiting their powers, pretty much. You know, you see a woman that is really good looking, but she's not using it to her advantage. That's a really good green flag, because it signals maturity. One of the most important things about any relationship in general is maturity. When I was with my dad, unfortunately, I'm going to have to be real, he was lacking maturity from even at the age of 60. And I had to be mature from a young age. I had to, as a survival, not even as like I wanted to pick to be mature, because everything would become shit, you know. Basic things such as booking a ticket for a holiday would become a nightmare because we'd get scammed or something would happen, you know, or he would forget something at home, like a passport, and have to buy a ticket all over again. He had to, and it was becoming worse, his immaturity with my mum, because my mum would pressure him a lot, and she knew that he would crumble under pressure, and she would have authority and control over my dad. That's how the relationship was briefly, and that's how it affected my view on dating and people that are together, a man and a woman, because they are different. A man and a woman is different. They have different specialties and different things that, you know, that make them tick, that commonly make them tick. So that's how it was for me. And immaturity is like a foundation of that, you know. I mean maturity, but you get it. So maturity is very, very broad because, you know, as a grown adult, you can have a child in you. That's completely fine. But immature people, I'm talking, are very, very like openly immature. The ones that are quite obvious because they repeatedly do things that are immature over and over again. Refusing to communicate is an immaturity. I'm not talking about people that can't communicate. That's fine. It's like it's a mistake, or it's a way that you are. I'm talking about the people that refuse to communicate. And my dad had this often. So when there was an issue, the issue wouldn't really get resolved because he would refuse to talk about it. One of the reasons was accountability. He wouldn't want to be accountable of anything. He would blame it on something else, always, constantly. And even when he blamed it on himself, the very rare occasion, he wouldn't take it to heart. He wouldn't change how he is, or how he acts. You know, there wouldn't be any effort. You know, that's what is a major sign. It's effort. You know, you can fail, but you need to give effort. And excuses, you know, you live by excuses, and your dating life, your relationships with your family, it's going to be shit because you're constantly giving excuses.